Hello everybody, we are here with your Hercules guide today. We're going to be playing Hercules as a support. He is viable support jungle in solo, but support is where you're most often going to see him at high level gameplay, mostly because of how flippin' annoying he is. So on our Hercules, we're going to be starting off with Guardian's Blessing, 4 health potions, and a Hand of the Gods. And for our active this game, we are against a Cupid and a Ganesh, it seems. I'm definitely going to want a sprint for this Cupid. So I'm going to grab the sprint early instead of a shell, because on Hercules, I'm also going to want a blink to get the most out of my initiations. So I'm probably going to get a blink at level 12, but I'm going to want a sprint to make sure I can get my team outside of that Cupid ult. So looks like no shell for us this game. On Hercules, we are going to be getting our 1 first. This is Driving Strike. This ability moves you forward on Hercules, and it does damage and stuns the target that you hit. Hercules is one of the oldest gods in the game, so his kit is actually pretty simple. So you go right on through them, you knock them back, it does damage, and it stuns. This will also be the ability that we max up first on our support Hercules. Our passive on Hercules is actually really nice. Really simple, really nice. Every time you take damage from enemy god, you gain a stack of self buff that provides physical power. So you get 5 + 1 per level, and it lasts for 5 seconds. And you can have 3 total stacks. So at level 1, you can have a bonus, what is that, 18 power? Just at level 1 by being hit by enemy gods. So that is really nice. This is basically like an item at this point. At level 2, we are Smite. At level 2, we are going to get our 2. This is the ability that really becomes the most important to hit on Hercules. You can see that it has kind of 2 little targeters on it. There is a beginning targeter, and then at the very end, you can see the targeter becomes a little bit of a different color. That part of the different color where it gets a little bit lighter, that is where you are trying to hit on Hercules, because this ability is damage and a pull. So this ability will do damage along this entire line, but if you grab a target, whether it's a minion, whether it's an enemy god, at the very end of the ability, it will do just that. It will go ahead and pull the target towards you, and then you can follow up with a nice, easy Driving Strike. So that ability, all it literally does is damage, and then if you hit something at the end, you get that pull. It does work on creeps, so oftentimes in Hercules, you're just going to want to group up the wave, and then you can push it with your Driving Strike, and you can use that as your lane clear. Now you do need to be careful on Hercules for his mana consumption. Luckily, the Guardian's Blessing is going to give us some help with that, but in general, your mana consumption on Hercules is actually pretty high. So I would just be a little bit careful when you're spamming your abilities. If you don't have to use your pull on the wave in order to clear it like I don't right now, then I would just go ahead and save your mana and try to get a little bit of that regen going, because otherwise you really will run out of mana quick, and oftentimes you're going to have to use your Driving Strike for clear. At level 4, we grabbed a point in our 3. Our 3 is our sustain ability on Hercules. This ability is going to give us a quick small heal. So when I pop this ability, I will immediately heal for a little bit of HP. Then it is going to start a timer. That timer that it starts is really the important part of this ability. So you heal for a little bit initially, but then every bit of damage that you take during that portion that you're waiting, you will return a portion of that as healing. So I pop my 3, I've got 4 seconds of time. At the end of that 4 seconds, I will return 30 to 70% of that damage that I took as healing. So if I take 100 damage right now, during that time, I'll actually return 30 of it as a heal at the end of it. Yes, that is affected by anti-heal. Well, this is a very strong ability. Also, by the end of the game, you can see 70%. That means we would get 70 HP back out of the 100 HP that we took after that 4-second time. Not only that, but you also get a protection buff. So if you watch our protections, boom, it jacks up our protections by 20 to 60. So we are tankier while we have this on ourselves. And we get that HP back at the very end. Finally, on Hercules, we have our ultimate. Our ultimate does make us CC immune for the brief moment that we are in this ability, so you can use it to avoid things like Ares chains. You stand still, though, while you're using this ulti, and you throw down a big, fat boulder onto the ground. This boulder does a lot of base damage, 300 to 800 base damage. And the interesting thing about this is it can actually hit multiple times. So this boulder will bounce off of walls, whether that is an actual Smite wall or a player-made wall. And so right there, I just used it right down the lane, and so you didn't actually see it bounce. But if you throw it against a wall, it'll do initial damage. And now Hercules boulder is really, really finicky on its hitbox. You should know that the hitbox of this is actually it's literally a box, so it's a square but on a round object, which means that sometimes it looks like it should hit and it doesn't. Sometimes it looks like it won't hit and it does. It's a little bit awkward because of the hitbox, and that goes to for the double hits. So how you can get subsequent hits on this ability is the HERC boulder has to completely stop hitting the target. So if I throw like a boulder right here on somebody and it bounces back and forth, it's not actually really going to do the bonus damage because the boulder doesn't really ever stop hitting them. Like, they never actually leave the boulder. And so you have to have them actually leave the boulder, and so it can actually do that continued damage, and it will do 50% damage on each subsequent hit. For the most part, you won't get this subsequent damage, but every once in a while you'll get like 1 tick, and if you're crazy, maybe you'll even get like a 3-er at a crazy time. So you can see our standard combination here on Hercules. Our standard combination that we're looking to do every single time is a real straightforward. We're looking for the pull. The pull takes our target out of position, and then we push them towards our team for that damage follow-up. Surprised that Thanatos did not go for our Woojer right there, and instead went for the Amir. So we're just looking to pull a target towards us and then driving strike them towards our teammates so they can land all the damage for free while they are in all of that CC. So our official level order on Hercules is going to be 4-1-3-2. So we get our ultimate whenever we can for the damage, the 1 whenever we can for the damage and the stun duration, and then we get our 3 for the increased sustain and protections, finally leveling up our 2. The main part of our 2 that we're looking for is just that pull, and the only thing it increases is the damage, and it's just not that much damage to be worth it. So I'm going to back up right now. I'm going to get my Gauntlet of Thebes. Pretty standard start here for a support. A lot of supports are building reinforced greaves right now. They're really good, and I'd recommend it. Hercules, though, is a little bit different. Part of what makes Hercules so strong is going movement on him. So that way you can run at the enemy backline and really be annoying and hard for them to deal with. Particularly the ADC and the mage have a hard time dealing with an aggressive Hercules. Part of that aggression is going to come from the fact that we're going to have Talaria's boots and a shield of regrowth, which is going to proc on her 2, and that's going to let us kind of run up towards Merlin's like this, and then hit him with a combo, except for we didn't actually hit him with the driving strike somehow. Lol. But that's the idea. Particularly once we get our Shield of Regrowth online, we're going to be extra speedy. Once again. Gonna use my boulder right there against the wall. Didn't quite get that double hit on the boulder. To be fair, like I said, you normally don't, but gonna pull this guy right on back. So you basically have 2 options on your Hercules. One option is that you're initiated. This server is really bad. Like really, really bad. This is kind of horrible for our Hercules guide for this server to be this bad. But anyway, sorry about that, folks. Smite servers have been absolutely atrocious lately. But you basically have 2 options, which is to use your pull and then driving strike them towards your team, or you can use your driving strike first and then wait to use your pull until after they do something like a getaway skill. Oftentimes on somebody like a Merlin, they have a flicker, right, which is going to instantly get them away from your pull if you try to use it on them. So sometimes you might want a driving strike first, and then if they go to try to get away, you can hit them with that pull on the backside of the ability. That way you can force them to use their getaway skill and then actually hit them with it. So those are your 2 options. 2 then 1, or 1 and then 2, depending on exactly what you're fighting. We're going to do a Divios special right here. For those that remember our boy Divios, that was for you. Even in the solo lane. How about that? Now we're going to back it up. We're going to start working on a Shield of Regrowth. This Shield of Regrowth is crucial for our Hercules support. That bonus movement speed that we get when we pop our 3 and get the bonus movement speed from Shield of Regrowth, this is going to really let us wreak havoc in the back line. Not to mention, part of Hercules' tankiness as a support comes from the fact that he's really, really fast and hard to hit with abilities. So this part of the build is absolutely mandatory. Talaria's boots, Thebes, Shield of Regrowth, absolutely mandatory. Going to continue to rank up our 3. For Hercules' abilities, your 1 does not go through walls, but your 2 does. You have to be careful with your 2. Your 2 does interact with walls, but you can use it through them. So if I pull a Cupid like this, and he's at the end, it will hit Cupid and pull him towards me, but it will get stopped by the wall. It's not like he launches over the wall to me, so he'd get pulled up, down, basically right along the wall. Is what would end up happening. So just keep in mind, a player-made wall, if the Ymir throws up a wall in the middle of your pull, it'll stop it. It doesn't get launched over things. It does get blocked by those walls, but you can use it through a wall. Your ultimate as well, you can throw it over walls. So keep that in mind to try to get a kill as they're running away as the last second. And your 3 is obviously just a stim. Lightweight, baby. Lightweight, baby. In general, don't be afraid on Hercules to just kind of use your ulti willy-nilly. It seems a little silly, but Hercules ult actually does come up pretty often. And it's very, very good at clearing. You can see that I've got a 2-level lead right now as a support, because I'm just kind of going around and making sure that nobody's missing out on any farm. Like, hey, there's a wave here that's going to die to creeps. Let's make sure somebody gets that farm. Let's go ahead and keep backing it up. Little Shield of Regrowth. I'm going to get Blink. We talked about it earlier, and I'm going to rank up my sprint. That sprint, of course, was to counter the Cupid. If they didn't have a Cupid or somebody that I necessarily needed sprint against, I would have gone Shell. Shell's a very, very good active right now, but on Hercules, you have to have Blink. So the second active becomes a little bit more situational. So now that we've got the Shield of Regrowth online, we can do things like this, where we pop our Shield of Regrowth and we just start running at people like Merlin. Merlin uses his flicker. I can use my pull. I'm going to wait. Now I baited his beads. So now I can go ahead and driving strike. Now that I know that his beads are down, I'm going to throw down an ulti at this wall. I'm going to pop me this increase heavenly, and I'm going to be able to just straight up run down that mage. That is the exact purpose that we are looking to do on Hercules. That's exactly what we're looking for. Force them to use some actives, chase down a mage. Easy peasy. That extra movement speed, plus we get all that baseline power from our passive. We really don't need damage in order to do lots and lots of damage on Hercules support. Another strategy that you saw me utilize right there is I pulled the Merlin with my 2, and then I waited on my driving strike. So instead of using it right away, I pulled. I was pretty sure he was going to use his beads, so I waited. He used his beads, and then I could follow up with my driving strike after his beads was down in order to actually utilize that stun duration and make sure that I didn't bring myself away from the Merlin. For some of our matchups, on Hercules, Hercules has a great time into everybody except, oh, that was awkward. Except big anti-Healy boys. Big anti-Healy boys are the bane of Hercules' existence. So anybody that has lots and lots and lots of anti-heal is a disaster. Circuits, Odin, Sobek can be pretty bad. Anybody that's got built-in anti-heal, even a Chang'at, anybody that can either have 100% by default, or anybody that with one item, like one Divine Ruin, can easily put themselves at like 90% anti-heal. Those are going to be problematic for you, so keep your eyes out for that. That's the number one thing that you're not looking to deal with on Hercules. As far as what you're looking to go against, you love going against pretty much everybody. You really like people that can't get over walls. Hercules obviously can't jump over a wall, but you're going to have Blink in order to help you out with that. But somebody like Merlin is so nice for Hercules to go against, because I literally just get to run at him. He's already used his flicker, and I literally just get to run at him, right? Like, I don't even have to think about it. I hold down my W key and I just kind of run at him. And that's great. For anybody that can actually dash over walls, it's a little bit harder because you can't follow them over walls. So anybody with no real getaway skill, anybody with a short range getaway skill, anybody that just has a dash and not a leap, all great targets for the Hercules. So you're not a huge peeler. You're not a huge peeler on Hercules. You can peel because you've got the pull, you've got the driving strike. But for the most part, your job is that almost of a solo laner. You're kind of in charge of zoning. And so it is much more important for my team for me to try and keep, 3 people out of this fight than it is for me to actually turn around and peel for somebody. Because if I can zone out like Merlin damage and Cupid damage and the Thanatos damage right in that fight, then my team should definitely be winning their 4v2. So number one responsibility on your Herc support is you are in charge of zoning out a lot of the damage dealers, utilizing your movement speed in CC to be maximum annoying. Oftentimes you're not gonna grab the kill once you get to about the 20-minute plus marker. It's not really your job to get the kill, it's just to prevent people from being in a team fight, so that way your team can start off the fight by getting 1, 2, maybe even 3 pickoffs, and then as a team you can run down the rest of them. So now we've grabbed a wing blade as my next item. This team that we're going against has a lot of slows. Hades got a slow, Ganesh got slows, Thanatos got slows. They got lots and lots of slows. So I grabbed a wing blade in order to deal with that, and it fits perfectly into our movement speed build that we are running here, allowing me to catch up to targets. Another thing for our Hercules that you can saw that I did right there, oftentimes on your pull, you can get an auto attack before you have the driving strike. So I get in the habit of trying to time it out. You can pull, and then once they land near you, you can auto 1 and use your 1 to cancel out your auto attack very quickly. It's a very quick and easy auto to cancel. So you just 2, you auto, and then you 1 right when they land, and you'll be able to do those basically simultaneously. Can throw down a little bit of an aggressive ward while we're over here starting this Pyromancer. I'm going to driving strike the Pyromancer to stop him from using his ability. Reminder that Pyromancer's ability can be interrupted by forms of hard CC like mezzes and stuns and whatnot.
Big wave, big gains.
Here, as we're moving into the end of our build, we are going to be moving into some CDR. We're going to be moving into some CDR in the form of Mantle of Discord and Spirit Robe. This is going to give us a nice 20% CDR. We also like Pridvin on Hercules, also another good item that we can look towards. I'm going to try to stand in front of my Uller and block a scythe, even though it didn't work out so well earlier in the game. He actually scythed the minion, which allowed him to live right there. But hopefully, not even a Thana will be able to get away from my increased movement speed. So you can see exactly what we're doing right now, which is we're literally just being the most annoying you've ever seen somebody be. I'm standing in front of their damage dealers. I'm hitting them over and over again on the head, and oftentimes I'm not even killing them. I'm just being ungodly annoying. This is genuinely the purpose
I'm shedding so much blood.
of Hercules in the support role. You chase people around until they just want to delete their Smite client. Now that we got enough money, we're going to back it up. We're going to get that Mantle of Discord. That Mantle of Discord is going to give us some CC immunity in case we get caught and get low. Plus, it's going to give us some extra CDR so we can spam our CC even more. So when we sell that Guardian's Blessing, we've got the option of getting a Spirit Robe or a Pridvin. Looking at their composition, they've got a decent bit of CC. Both Spirit Robe and Pridvin are going to be a good item here. I might lean into the Pridvin this game, just so I can cap out my CDR and have the full 40% with the Shield of Regrowth, but we will see. I'll overcap with Red Pot at that point, but I never worry about overcapping with Red Pot to begin with. I'm gonna just stand in front of these guys right now. On Hercules as well, remember that your 3 gives you back that bonus HP depending on when exactly you use it. So you can use your 3 in order to give you that Shield of Regrowth proc, but you also can use it a little bit more strategically if you would like, in order to give you that extra HP. Expect people to be building lots of anti-heal though, so for the most part I'm using it for nice consistent Shield of Regrowth procs. So even without being crazy tanky, right? Like I've got a lot of investments into things like movement speed. I've got the sprint. I've got the wing blade. Even with all of that, I'm actually doing quite good damage. And a lot of that comes from the fact that Hercules has really good base damage on his abilities and from my passive. So my passive at this point, 5 + 1 per level. I'm level 18. So that's 23 physical power per stack with max stacks of 3. That's an insane amount of physical power that I'm just getting for free by standing in front of people. And then you combine that with the base damage on abilities, like this already does 675, and the cooldown's gonna be as low as 56 seconds, and I don't even have close to cap CDR. A lot of Hercules' annoyingness comes from the fact that he actually does do decent damage just by spamming those abilities kind of willy-nilly, especially on squishier targets. So I'm gonna go zone out this Hades just to make sure we grab this fire giant really quick. And if he tries to run away, no, he's actually going in. He's not gonna run away at all. He's gonna be roasty toasty dead. I shouldn't even have to use my ulti right here. Merlin looks like he might be kind of looking towards us, but I gotta be careful that I don't get Thanatos baited. Gold theory is up, so we need to rotate ourselves right on over to that gold. I'm gonna back it up, and I've decided that I am gonna go into that Pridven. I'm actually gonna wait for 30 gold right here. It's gonna wait it out for 20 gold. We're gonna get that Pridven. We've now got 40% CDR, a bajillion% movement speed, and even some decent protections right now. Like, look at this. 225, 197. That's a respectable amount for having 3k health plus 1, 2, 3 items that give me an insane amount of movement speed. Talaria Wingblade and Shield of Regrowth give a lot of movement speed. Like, look at me. I've got 570 right now. We've got the sprint to help out the team, which is going to be a great time to use that sprint right now. I'm going to driving strike at this Cupid. Start running right at him. Pop that again for the Shield of Regrowth proc. Just gonna hold down the W key over here at the old QP. I should be able to just kind of kill him. There we go. And now I can go back and help out with my Raw in the back line. There is a Thanatos. I'm gonna try to blink stun him. Not quite gonna get him. He is very fast as well. He's probably the only guy that's gonna be able to be as fast as me. There's a nice 2 on the wall. You got to see that interaction with a Hercules pull on a wall that we were talking about earlier, where I did land the pull through the wall. Where I landed the pull through the wall, but he still doesn't actually get pulled to me. But I knew that he would get caught on the wall, so I tried to prepare myself on the wall for wherever he was going to land to be able to follow up with that driving strike. Now we've got Oni Furies pushing up every single lane. Here at the end of the game, our job is to tank this Phoenix and allow our boys to hit it. We don't have our Uller here with us, so I don't want to tank too much damage that I don't have to. So I'm going to run into the back line, see if I can't force a little Magi's on the good Nash. Okay, let's back out a little bit. We've still got a couple dead. I'm going to use my Shield of Regrowth to kind of get me a little bit closer to these guys. Maybe pull a Cupid. Good Ganesh Silence is going to take me right on out of that. They have to deal with the Onis and other lanes right now, but our Rod did back up. So we might as well just go all the way over to right lane and grab that tier 2. I'm going to see if I can't catch somebody right here. Not paying attention. I'm going to try to just kind of whoop. Not going to be able to get the Thanatos quite. No, not quite gonna be able to get him. But luckily I distracted him so my team could just kill that Hades for free down by the tier 2 tower. I'm about to go take damage. I'm gonna pop my 3 early to make sure that I get that HP back as much as I can. I'm just gonna run right at Thanatos for now. Thana goes into the air. Gonna try to head back towards my team. Throw down a Heavenly Agility and a big... I want an ulti on this Thana real bad. I'm gonna try to keep chasing him down. See if I can't kill him before he can get into his fountain, and I'm gonna be able to. I'm gonna pop my 3 again. run back towards my team. Still got my blink up. So I'm going to go looking for Aang. I'm going to driving strike, hit him with a combo, burn his beat. That's another kill on Aang. Now I'm waiting around for the Cupid. Got to pop my 3 for that shield of regrowth. And now the dive begins over on the Cupid. I'm going to use my driving strike to bring me closer to Cupid so I can hit him with my 2. Tanking a lot right now, but luckily I got that winged blade proc, so I'm going to reset that really quick. Try to keep chasing for this Cupid. Unfortunately, I'm going to get silenced by a Ganesh and pulled by a Hades at the same time. Unfortunately, we did not actually get any Phoenixes right there. But you can see that we're just running at their back line, zoning out people, and getting the clean up kills. And really, for the most part, I wasn't even really at risk of dying in that fight. So at the very end of the game, we can grab our elixir of speed. Keep in mind, when you get an elixir of speed, you actually lose movement speed because Talaria Boots is giving you more movement speed than the elixir does. At the very end of the game, I oftentimes like to replace with another movement speed item because you have lost a little bit. Something like a relic dagger is great for Hercules, so you can use that shell, that blink, that heavenly agility more depending on what actives you have gone. You don't have to if you want to. Oftentimes, sometimes people get a 6 item. They just go a damage item. So maybe you grab 1 quick damage item. Maybe you grab the sledge, something still kind of hybrid-y, but that actually gives you a little bit of power. You have a lot of options as your 6th item, and a lot of it will go ahead and depend on the game that you are playing. On this particular build, you can see we've got 50% CDR. We would have 60% with a red pot. I literally don't care. All I care about is movement, movement, movement. As long as we've got the movement speed, we can catch up to people like the Merlin right there. He dies, and we just keep running at their team. Now, the Thanatos is going to be dead. Now I'm going to be able to charge in and look for Hades. Oh, Hades is going to get pulled. Oh, Hades is getting driving strike. Look at this. I'm going to throw down a heavenly agility for the boys. I'm diving in towards this Ganesh and Cupid. Cupid already dashed. So I'm just going to try to driving strike him away from his fountain. Maybe hit him with a little body block as well. And now we're going to be able to end the game. That last engagement is the pinnacle of Hercules support. You are moving at the speed of light, and you are going to be able to pull them very, very, very far out of position. So you want to embrace the movement speed, and you want to embrace the cooldown in order to be able to continually put people on a back foot and bring them out of position. You yourself are actually going to be very tanky just by the nature of the fact that you are hard to hit. So practice landing that 1-2 and that 2-1 combo on your enemies, and you two can do 28,000 damage while really not building any damage items, guys. And that is your Hercules support guide.